Hey guys, Marcus Melnick here with Firearm Mentor. Hope you're enjoying my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. These little things are free to you and really help the channel. I appreciate your support. Enjoy. Thank you. The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters. Greetings and welcome back to the Personal Safety Show. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor and Stress 2 Logic, your host. And are you curious to hear what happened to Brent Novoselsky when he returned to Chicago? I am, and here's the rest of that story.
And I pack everything up. I get back to Chicago, and I'm here, and I see an interview with Tony Mandrich.
Okay. Tony
Mandrich was the number one pick in the draft back in 1989. The top pick who had held out all of camp, finally got signed to $6 million a year, that was a huge number back then. That was a big number. And they're interviewing Tony Mandrich, and literally I see him on my couch in my apartment that I just left. And I called Sterling Sharp. I said, "Is Tony Mandrich in my apartment?" He said, yeah, he moved in right when you left. I'm like, he didn't change the furniture. So that was kind of weird.
Right.
But so I'm at home a couple days. I'm like, I've got to look for a job now. My football career is over. I'm done. They don't want me. And then I got a call from the Vikings. Hey, do you want to come try out? Of course, I retired in my mind, but of course I say yes. Hang up the phone. I fly up there with literally my contacts and maybe some underwear. I don't know. So I try out for them all day. That game that week was against the Bears in Soldier Field. So I talked to Jerry Burns at the time. I said, Jerry, is it okay if I stay after the game and pick up my car and all my stuff and drive back up? But we're playing, so I go up there. The next game we play Green Bay, right? And the Vikings ran plays in with the tight ends too. We didn't have the radio at the time. We were the radio.
Right.
So literally I would go in three tight end situations where it was short yardage goal line. So I would have to run from our 50 all the way to the goal to bring in the play. And by the time I got to Tommy Kramer and Wade Wilson, who were our quarterbacks, I'm huffing and puffing from that 50-yard jog that I just took. And then trying to get the play in and everything. But the greatest thing about that game was the opening kickoff. And I'm a special teams guy. I'm captain of special teams. I'm right in the middle. And I look down and I see big number 77, Tony Mandrich. It's his first game that he's ready to play, right? And I'm just going, I'm licking my chops. And that's back when they had the wedge where the top front four guys were these huge linemen and they would get together and link arms and the idea as a gunner, as a wedge buster, was that you were supposed to at least take two guys out or just give up your body. And I'm thinking, okay, this big guy, I'm going to give him a move like a wide receiver. So I run down, I see him, he's all geared up. I give him a fake to the right, and then I go to the left, and he takes a swing at me, like a punch.
Oh.
I've never seen this in football. He goes to punch me. I duck under the punch. I duck around him. I grab the ball carrier. I slam him down. I jump up. I get in Mandrich's face, and I just start cussing him out. Understand, he's apologizing to me while I'm cussing him out. And my buddies, of course, my team is like grabbing me, and they're pulling me away, and I'm still yelling at him. My hands are, and I look at my guy that's got me, and I said, "Don't let me go. He'll kill me." And I just kept talking at him the whole time. So that was my Tony Mandrich story. Wow. And he was a bust in Green Bay, but he wound up actually resurrecting his career down in Indy for the Colts.
Yep.
And he actually had a really good career. He was actually a very good player. Better story is the last game of the season. We were trying to make the playoffs, and we had a Monday night game against the Cincinnati Bengals. This was 1989. It was on Christmas Day or Christmas Day night, whatever you want to call that. And if we win the game, we go to the playoffs. If we lose, Green Bay goes to the playoffs. So this is back in the days where Monday Night Football was the last game of the season. So now every team plays on like a Saturday and they're done.
Right.
It used to be that last game. Everybody's watching us. So this is all the marbles. And they've got a feed from Green Bay, from I think it was They had from one of the houses. They had a whole bunch of guys there. And we played really well in the first half, and we're up 20 or 22 to nothing. Didn't really get in the end zone a bunch. We had a bunch of kicks, a bunch of field goals. And then the second half, they start coming back, and they start pushing it. And I think it's 22 to 21. We're winning. 4 minutes left to go in the game. We're down on our own goal line, ready to score. Actually, their goal line, ready to score on the 2-yard line. And it's fourth down. And we've got Anthony Carter. We got Chris Carter. We've got Herschel Walker. We got Steve Jordan. We got all these Hall of Fame. I mean, these guys are great players. And they wind up calling my number. Fake it to Herschel and put a ball up in the corner of the end zone. And Wade Wilson lofted a perfect pass up. I went pretending like I was going to block. I get in the corner of the end zone and made an over-the-shoulder catch like I had a million times on Culver Street. Got both feet in, and we wound up winning the game because, we put up 7 and, now we're up 9, and they couldn't. Actually, I think we're up 8. I forget what the numbers were, but they couldn't kick a field goal to beat us.
Right.
They had to, they had to score a touchdown. Right. So that helped us win the game. And so that was my first year in Minnesota. That was the catch. I got to play 6 years up in Minnesota. Played in over 100 games, made over 100 special teams tackles, a bunch of catches, but it was really the special teams that really, that to me, I've got pictures up on my wall here of all the coin tosses that I was out for as captain. It was an honor and it was a pleasure. And my last game was November 27th, 1994 against Tampa Bay in the Dome. I made a tackle and flipped the guy, but knocked my disc, my C45 or 3-4 disc. And that was it. Went for x-rays at halftime and never played again because I had to get a plate and 4 screws. And then another plate and 4 screws a couple of years after. And that was the career, and now I have to rely on my education.
Well, it was a terrific career. I don't know why you went from developing your brain to beating the crap out of it. I'm kidding. I'm teasing you. I'm just giving you a hard time.
The joke I had, because the joke I have is I went in with an Ivy League degree, and I came out with a Big Ten degree. So,
oh, that's funny.
Well, I could say, look, my wife went to Illinois, my brother went to Illinois, other brother went to Iowa. We got a lot of Big Ten roots. My daughter went to Minnesota.
You're kind of a celebrity, a little bit. Can you talk about the Jewish Sports Hall of Fame?
Oh, yeah. That to me is such an honor. I love it. I'm the first one to make fun of myself. And, of course, when I got into the Jewish Hall of Fame, I'm like, you know what? Now that with all the names now, they have to go with a lower font for the handout of the great Jewish athletes, the old airplane joke. It was truly an honor, to be in the Chicago Jewish Sports Hall of Fame. And then, of course, a couple of years ago in the Philadelphia Jewish Sports Hall of Fame, which is just a tremendous honor. Any time they tell you you're in the Hall of Fame, I don't care what it is. It's like, this is,
absolutely.
It's nice. It's special. Being Jewish and working hard. For me, it wasn't about really having tremendous athletic gifts. It was really taking what I had and getting the absolute most I could out of it. To me, that really was it. I've seen a lot of guys that they have ability, tremendous ability. They can get on just with that ability, but they don't work hard. They could be so much better. To me, I had to be that much better just to compete. And that's the thing that I'm most proud of, is just my ability to work hard and just to squeeze the absolute most I could out of my abilities.
Well, apparently you're not the only athlete in your family.
Right.
Your brother is actually skates with the Chicago Wolves.
My younger brother, Seth, he was the best athlete. I'm 6'2", and my brothers are all 5'10". My dad's was 5'10". My mom was short. So I don't know how he got to be 6'2". The joke was the milkman. But my younger brother, Seth, still is a phenomenal athlete. And this kid was such a great running back. His issue, though, was freshman year, he broke his forearm. And that kind of ended he played the rest of high school, but he didn't want to go out and play. Although he did play for the Sammies, ZBT, that game. He played for Sammies. He was the quarterback. But he was such a tremendous athlete, baseball and football, and just didn't get my height. So that 4 inches does really matter. But he still is tremendous athlete. So he had a couple jobs that came and went. One of the jobs is selling tickets for the Wolves. And the Wolves are kind of a small organization. So what happens is if you work for the Wolves at any capacity, game day, your game day operations.
Right.
So he'd go to game day operations and they said, hey, the guy that plays skates, the mascot, is sick today. Would you want to put on the suit? And my brother's kind of he can dance.
Okay.
And he's not shy, not bashful. So he put the suit on, and there's two different guys, and I don't want to pull the curtain back too far, but they had an Olympic skater that was the one that was on the ice skating, and then he would be the one in the crowd dancing around.
Okay.
Now, he's since gone on the ice. He's been able to do the ice thing, which was kind of cool, but he's the guy that's in the crowd dancing and messing around, and he absolutely loves it. And basically, I mean, it was so much fun to do that he stopped selling tickets for them and actually moved on to a different job and kept doing the skate stuff. So he's got 5 championship rings.
Wow.
And so it's been a blast. He absolutely loves it. The people there are phenomenal.
Yes.
And it's just such a cool thing to see him in his element.
Obviously, you have this tremendous athletic career. What are you doing today, professionally?
Actually, I just passed my 30th year of working for companies called Alera, which before that was GCG, which before that was Greater Chicago Group, which is basically insurance and investments. So I work with business owners. I also work with individuals just to make sure that their financial world is sound and set. I do it via values-based planning. So we figure out first and foremost what's most important to people. And then we figure out what keeps them up at night and make sure that there's things that can be done so that you can solidify and not have to worry about what happens with the market, what happens if, God forbid, you don't wake up or you get injured, and all these things come into play. And I absolutely love doing it. Lately, I've been doing a lot of work for my clients' friends of parents that are passing. Unfortunately, I had to deal with that myself. My dad passed back in 2008.
Sorry to hear that.
And my mom, thank you. My mom passed of COVID back in 2020, so 5 years ago, 6 months shy of her 80th birthday. But that in between that time, that 12 years, basically I was kind of taking care of my mom and her finances.
Right.
And I've got a lot of experience in doing that, and just really organizing and making sure that the money doesn't run out is really key. For most people, it's really just, let's organize. Let's make sure that we know where everything is. And then let's figure out how to best allocate the dollars, make sure that my surviving parent has the best quality of life possible. And then look to them to say, well, let's not do this to our kids. Let's make sure that we're organized enough so that our kids don't have to go through the same rigmarole that we had to. So It's enjoyable for me. I'll do it for a long time because I get to have fun. I get to play a lot of golf. I get to talk to different people, and it's kind of fun, but it's also super important.
If somebody's interested in using you for your services, how can they get a hold of you?
The absolute best way to get a hold of me is on LinkedIn. So most people have LinkedIn. If you just go to my name and just invite me to connect, I absolutely am open to that. There's all my information. I post a bunch of videos. I post a bunch of information, and that's the best way to connect.
Okay, terrific. And it's Brent, Brent, last name Novoselsky, Noveselsk.
No, come on, man, you're killing me. You're killing. So I got an alumnus award from Niles North. And I get the award, and they put an extra letter in there, and I'm like, I don't need any more letters. No, it's actually Novo. It's Novo, Novo, Sel, S-E-L, Ski, S-K-Y. So it's Novoselsky, 10 letters, but we don't need any extra letters.
Okay. I'd like to jump back to some things that you're doing in the sports industry. Can you talk about, you're starting an Israeli flag football team. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I'm not starting it. So basically, gentleman Steve Leibowitz is out in Israel. He's a journalist. He's been in Jerusalem for the last 40 years. So he came from Brooklyn, and him and his buddy from Brooklyn come over to Israel, and they're like, there's no, they can't watch the NFL or college football on TV. It's late at night, and they find people that are also from America that like football, and they start setting up these watch parties to watch NFL games, to watch the Super Bowl. And then from there, they're like, well, let's actually get a league going. So they actually get a league going, both flag and tackle. And he's been building it up. He's got a really good connection with Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Kraft has donated 3 different stadiums, like fields, around Israel. And I got to see the latest one, which is a flag football field in the heart of Jerusalem. Wow. I went last March, not just past March, but the March prior. For the first time, I got to go to Israel and see it, which was an interesting time to go, only a couple months after October 7th. But it was something that I really wanted to do, I needed to do. It was almost like going over during COVID. There weren't a lot of other people there that were tourists, if you will. Right. I was on Minesota with 4 other people. I was in the Dead Sea with 5 other people. I mean, it felt like it was almost like my own place. But it was absolutely beautiful, beautiful country, and the people were awesome, and the food was tremendous. And it was just one of those things where, I got to see the kids. I went to a lot of U17 games because the adult leagues weren't going on because 85% of those folks were actually fighting in the war. Right. But the kids were there, and I got to see the kids. I got to flip the coin. I got to talk to them. I brought them a whole bunch of stuff from the NFLPA and the Bears and the Vikings. Actually, the Vikings put me up at their hotels. The Wolves, who are the owners of the Vikings, are tremendous people, tremendous supporters of Israel. And they've got 2 hotels, or they've got a couple of hotels, but they put me up at a hotel in Tel Aviv and then one in downtown Jerusalem. And then Steve's folks from Israel football, American football in Israel, took me around all over the country. And it was just such a tremendous honor, and it was just a tremendous just an organization. And you watch and you see what these kids are doing and how they're playing. And in the United States, football is there to help give our kids values and teach them how to actually put those values in play and teamwork. Right. And all these great football is such an important teacher. And then you look at it in Israel, and these kids are all going into the military. So they're kind of coming in with these values that are preset. And to them, to watch them play and to watch what they get out of the game is super cool because it just elevates what they do. The big difference you can see is that the line play is not what it is here in the States, because those kids are playing soccer, they're running around. They don't, they're not really doing the push and the Olympic lifting that we do here. And so that's the one issue. But, the flag football game is so cool because you get to see kids of all ages. You get to see women, girls playing it. And that's become a real focus because the Olympics in 2028 in LA, they're going to have flag football as an Olympic event. And we would love to get Israel on that international stage just because obviously there's a lot of anti-Semitism out there. And just to get that out there and then to build, right now they got about 1,000 people in Israel playing football actively. And if you can get them on that stage, it's going to be tough. The men's team's got a better chance than the women's. The men's team is actually ranked 8th in Europe right now. Unfortunately, it sounds like the Olympics are only going to take the top 6 teams in the world. And right away, you got the U.S., Mexico, and Canada that are the top 3. That's the most talent, and they're phenomenal. So they've got to do some work, but we've been trying to get them more and more experience. I brought the young team over a couple months ago to go up to Minesota to go into the Vikings facility, and they played against the 17U USA team, which was super cool. I mean, it was so awesome to see them. This team from Israel, these kids come, and literally, zero sleep. They get out there. USA team really absolutely dominates them the first day inside, and then they go outside the next day, and they actually were a lot more competitive. They lost on the last play of the game. Okay. But it was so cool just to have them there on the field. Team Israel's going in a couple of weeks to LA. They're doing a whole bunch of kind of workout, scrimmage type things out in LA for a bunch of different countries. So they're going to be part of that. But to me, it's just how do we build this great game up in Israel where, it's so important because it just gives them an outlet. And before the war, they had teams that had Arabs, Jews, Muslims on the same team. You've been in a locker room, and a football locker room is really particular in that you take all walks of life, and it doesn't matter. We're all brothers in there.
Right.
And we're all fighting for the same goal. So to do something, you bring a great sport like that to Israel and be able to just give them that outlet, to me, is super important. And it's one of the things that I've taken on, because I've got a bunch of stuff that I was doing in the past for the former players, the NFLPA. I was president and treasurer, and I'm now just on the board, and I still support it. And then B'nai B'rith, I was the treasurer, and I also ran the scholarship program. I still run the scholarship program, but I've kind of stepped away from the treasury stuff because, it's just kind of opened up this opportunity for me to do more work with Israel. So now we're looking at bringing former players over to Israel through an organization called Project Max, which is basically they fight racism and anti-Semitism. So we're going to be doing that over the next few years. I'm going to bring contingencies of former players and their wives over to see the Holy Land and to experience what's going on over there and see some football games.
Sweet.
So we're going to get that done.
What sort of safety equipment do the players need if they're playing flag football?
You don't really need much. Most kids wear a mouth guard, but it's literally, you got cleats, you got your flag belt, and that's basically it. It's really a non-contact game. I mean, there's a little bumping, but it should be safer. And obviously no sport is safe. You look at the dangers of literally cheerleading is dangerous. It's one of those that are up there.
Yeah.
Right. So it's flag, to me, it's a better game for safety, especially for young kids. My son played at Western Michigan.
Okay.
He got a full ride scholarship. He played right tackle. He's a big Jewish kid. Zach's about 6'5". He was 300 pounds. He's got lighter. But I didn't let him play tackle football until high school, because my thought is these kids physically they're giant bobbleheads. They got these huge heads. They got no neck muscles. Right. And if you ever watch a youth football practice, there's one kid that looks like Butkus that's knocking the crap out of and the other kids are kind of tippy-toeing in, and it's just like, all right, yes, it's important for them to learn how to face this and do that, but I think at this point, I would much rather see them play in high school, where it's monitored and safety's monitored, and the equipment's, they've grown into the equipment. The equipment for kids is it's basically just scaled down to kids. It's meant for adults.
Right.
So to me, I would much rather see it. To teach it, and they've done a much better job teaching you the heads up and tackling and how do you do that safer, and the rules have changed to make it safer. But it's never truly going to be a super safe game because it's contact first.
Right.
And I know that firsthand. But I think that if you make flag a focus, which it's become more and more here in the States, I think 22 states have it as a high school sport. I would love to see all states have that as a high school sport. It gives you an option. Now, the cool thing about that is boys, girls, they can continue playing that all the way through and continue into their adulthood to play.
Right,
play
adult
it,
leagues.
for a long, long time. Yep. But if you want to make that transition in high school to tackle, it's there for you. So to me, it's not going to take away tackle. It's going to enhance that part of the game. And I think the kids that still are going to play tackle and raise to that level are still going to do it. I think it gives parents a better option. It lets the kids play different sports too, because flag football versus tackle, it's a job. Tackle football is a job. You've got to be every single day, 3 hours a day. You've got to be there learning the plays. I'd rather have these kids learn a couple plays, play on a weekend, play for an hour, you're done. Then go play basketball, go play volleyball, go play lacrosse, baseball, go play other sports. To me, you've got to experience all these sports because each sport teaches you a different thing.
Well, I'll tell you, my kids, and we're in the same area. I think you're in Buffalo Grove, pretty sure.
Yes.
I absolutely loved going to flag football games, soccer games, and I didn't really enjoy as much the BGRA baseball games because they would go on forever and ever. Yes. The other ones were timed. It's a couple quarters, it's a couple halves. It's cool.
Right.
So it's a little bit of an easier time commitment. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you and have you on the show. What final thoughts can you offer? And I'm going to ask a double question. Does the Israeli flag football team accept donations, and how would someone donate?
Yes and yes. It's been a pleasure, my Marcus. I really do appreciate it. I think the keys that we need to keep in mind in this time in our world is just to understand that everybody's got a point of view, and that our social media with this drop the mic type deal, you listen to people. And if you listen to people and really hear them and hear their sides of the story, you realize that most people are closer to the center. There's a reason why somebody feels like they do. And to vilify that is not constructive. I think there are absolute rights and wrongs, but I think there is that middle ground that says, well, tell me why you feel that way. What's behind that? I think we stopped listening to people. And it's like, let's get back to being human and talking to each other and kind of figure out what's your point of view. Here's my point of view, and respecting people's point of views and not jumping to the extremes on that. And as far as the American football in Israel goes, again, if you connect with me on LinkedIn, I can get you the information on that. I'm trying to. And if you go on to their website, it's just afi.co.il. And there's all kind of information about them. There are places that you can donate. We're doing a lot of great stuff here. So again, if people just connect with me on LinkedIn, I can get it to the right places, because we're trying to work on a deal with Riddell to get them helmets and shoulder pads. Because in the past, you would just, hey, I'm going to Israel. Hey, throw 5 shoulder pads in your duffel and bring them over. Hey, by the way, the shoulder pads are probably like 10, 15 years old. So we're working on ways to actually logistically get them the equipment that they need.
Just to conclude, I'm going to have you spell your name, not me spell your name. So if people want to find you on LinkedIn, they get the correct spelling.
Yeah, it's Brent, Brent, Novoselsky, Novoselsky. Reach out to me, and happy to connect with anybody.
And keep doing what you're doing. It's all good stuff.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. I enjoyed it, and we'll talk soon.
We have monthly concealed carry license CCL classes in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Dates can be seen at firearmmentor.com/classes. If you have a question, we can be reached at www.firearmmentorcard.com. That is our electronic business card, has all of our contact information and links in it. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us. Until next time, stay safe out there, and I'll see you at the shooting range. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor signing off. The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters.